As part of my lifelong quest to one day be able to visually and artistically represent the structure of the universe in a somewhat accurate or somewhat meaningful and never before seen way, I always dig deeper into ancient theoretical structures of the universe, no matter where the source is. If it's ancient or from the past and it's still surviving, I'd like to try and figure it out. And one of the greatest structures of the universe ever described is the Srimad Bhagavatam in the Jainism, ancient Hindu sect-ish religion that is unbelievable and impossible to describe in a short sentence. It just really is incredible. But this one is a different take on JambuDvipa, our realm, is according to the Jainist religion, and it's from the Vaya Purana. And I thought it was really amazing, and it's got about 100 little sections and characteristics of JambuDvipa in our realm. And I think they're very relevant and need to be shown here with some cool artwork. So I'm going to show the text at first. You can check it out, and then I'm going to show a bunch of different theoretical structures that other people have drawn, mixed in with some ones that I have drawn, and then we'll see what else happens here. But I wanted to read this. It's kind of beautiful to listen to and has an amazing amount of incredible imagery and visualizations in it. And if this is real, which I kind of believe more than NASA or anything like that we've else been taught, this one seems the closest because it's almost beyond comprehension, and I truly feel that our true structure is absolutely beyond modern scientific blah 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 nonsense comprehension. So here we go. The Geography of JambuDvipa, chapter 34 in the Vaya Purana. Incredible. Here we go. On hearing of the establishment of the people, the clever and eminent sage asked Sutta about the length and extent of the earth. The sages inquired, "O holy sir, how many continents or oceans or mountains are there? How many varsas, subcontinents, are there, and what are the rivers in them? Explain factually to us in details the magnitude of the great elements and of the Loka mountain, the circumference, the size, and the course of movements of the sun and the moon." Sutta said, "Henceforth I shall explain the length and extent of the earth, the number of oceans and continents in details. I shall tell you how many countries, varsas, there are and what the rivers are therein. Now I shall tell you the magnitude of the great elements, the Loka mountain range, the circumference, magnitude, and the course of the moon and the sun. There are thousands of countries and islands in the 7 continents. They cannot be described in details with sufficient evidence, even in hundreds of years. I shall explain the 7 continents along with the moon, the sun, and the planets. Men mention their extent and magnitude by guesswork. One shall not make conjectures about inconceivable objects in worlds. That which is beyond Prakriti is called eternal. I shall describe to you factually JambuDvipa, consisting of 9 varsas. Understand its extent in zones in yojanas. It extends to 100,000 yojanas. It is full of different rural localities and various splendid cities. It is embellished with the colonies of Siddhas, Karanhas, and Gandharvas, and with mountains as well. It has mountains abounding in minerals and variegated rocks. It has many rivers rising from mountains. JambuDvipa is immense, glorious, and surrounded by 9 khandas, zones, inhabited by living beings. It is encircled on all sides by salt sea. All round JambuDvipa, extending to its entire length, the 6 mountain systems stretch to the east. They have excellent ridges. They extend to both sides, plunging into the eastern and western seas. The mountain Himavat is full of snow. Himakuta is full of gold. Nisadha is golden, having the luster of the midday sun. The golden Meru of 4 colors is known as the highest. Leaping up in symmetrical shapes on all sides, it rises up. Wow. On its sides it has various colors. It is endowed with the attributes of Prajapati. It is born of the umbilical knot of Brahma, of unmanifest origin. It is white on the east, hence its Brahmanahood. It is yellow on the south, hence its Vasyahood. On the west it is black like the aloe leaf. It is very hard and renders services to many. Its northern side has a natural red color, hence its Kshatriya hood. Thus all its colors are described. Its manifest characteristics are described according to its color and effects. The Nyla Mountain is full of lapis lazuli, Svetasaranga full of gold. Sringavin is of gold, but variegated in color like peacock feathers. These lordly mountains are resorted to by Karanhas and Siddhas. Their inner girth is said to be 9,000 yojanas. It is in the center of Ilavarta, which surrounds it. It extends to 9,000 yojanas. In the center of the Meru, there is a smokeless fire. The southern and the northern halves of Meru come together like the middle of the sacrificial altar. The 7 mountain systems of the 7 countries, Varsas, are 2,000 yojanas long and as much high. Their length is said to be similar to that of JambuDvipa. The 2 middling mountains, Nyla and Nisadha, are 100,000 yojanas in length. The other 4 mountains are shorter in length than these. They are Sveta, Himakuta, Himavin, and Sringavin. Out of these mountains, Sveta and Himakuta are each 90,000 yojanas long. Mountains Himavayan and Sringavin are each 80,000 in length. There are Janapadas, territories, in between them. The Varsas are 7 in number. They are encircled by mountains that are difficult to cross on account of steep precipices. They are crisscrossed by different rivers. It was impossible to travel from one Varsa to another. They were mutually unapproachable. Animals of different species live in them. This Varsa, deriving its name from Himavatis, well known by the name Bharata, Himakuta is beyond this. It is remembered by the name Kimpurusa. Naisadha Varsa is beyond Himakuta. It is called Harivarsa. Ilavarta is beyond Harivarsa, with Meru in the middle. Nyla is beyond Ilavarta and is well known by the name Ramyaka. Beyond Ramyaka is Sveta and is well known as Hiranmaya. The Sringavit is beyond Hiranmaya and it is remembered as Kuru. The 2 subcontinents in the south and north should be known as situated in the form of a bow. 4 others are situated lengthwise. In the middle one is Ilavarta. Vedyada, which is on the hither side of Nizada, is known as southern Vedyada, and that which is beyond the Nilavan is the northern Vedyada. On the southern side of Vedyada, there are 3 Varsas and 3 on the northern side. Meru should be known as standing in between them, and Ilavarta is in the middle of Meru. To the south of the Nyla and to the north of Nisadha, there is a great mountain stretching to the north named Malyavan. It stretches 1,000 yojanas from Nyla to Nisadha. It is glorified as 134,000 yojanas in extent. The mountain Gandamadana should be known as situated to its west. In length and extent, it is reputed to be like Malivadan. Meru, the golden mountain, is in the middle of 2 circles. That golden mountain has 4 colors. It is symmetrical and very lofty. In between the 2, there is the 4-colored, golden, 4-cornered, lofty, excellent mountain Meru. From the unmanifest, the elements of water, etc., are born. From the unmanifest, the great lotus of the earth is evolved. Its pericarp is the 4-cornered Meru that is 5 times great. O excellent Brahmanas, then all the deities were born. The noble Purusottama was born with his Atman purified by merits earned through many kalpas previously. Then there was born Mahadeva, the great Yogin, the great Lord who is elderly to the universe which he pervades, and who is infinite and formless. He has no form evolved out of Prakriti, that is to say, no form of flesh, fat, or bone. With his yogic power and lordly nature, he pervades the universe. From him, as the cause, was born the eternal lotus of the worlds. As the natural sequence of time, it occurred at the advent of the Kalpa. In that lotus was born the 4-faced lord of Devas, Brahma, the chief of Prajapatis, the lord of the universe. His creation is the seed of the lotus precisely. The whole of it, along with the creation of the subjects, is mentioned here in detail. The lotus that was fashioned by Vishnu grew from his umbilicus. The earth, along with the forest and the trees, was evolved in the shape of a lotus. O Brahmanas, listen to the detailed description of this lotus of the universe and its divisions in due order. The 4 famous great continents are stationed on the petals. The powerful Meru is stationed on the pericarp. Of its sides of different colors, the eastern side is white, the southern is yellow, the western is black, and the northern is red. With variegated colors shining brightly, Meru is established like a king. It is as refulgent as the midday sun or the smokeless fire. It is 84,000 yojanas in height. Its depth below the surface of the earth is 16,000 yojanas, and at its base it extends also as much. It is situated like an arrow pointing to the east. Its diameter at the summit is 32,000 yojanas. Its girth all around is thrice its lateral extent. The spherical curvature is half of it. It lies in 3 angles. Its extent all around is 40,000 yojanas. In the angular circulation it will be 8,000 more. In the quadrangular calculation, the girth is 48,000 yojanas. That mountain is extremely rich in divine medicinal herbs. It is encircled by auspicious golden worlds. All the groups of divas, Gandharvas, Uragas, Rakshasas, and splendid Asparases are seen on that lordly mountain. That Meru, the purifier of living beings, is encircled by worlds. 4 lands are established on its different sides. They are Bhadrasva to the east, Bharata in the south, Ketumala in the west, and the Kurus in the north. They, the Kurus, are the resorts of those who perform pious deeds. The pericarp of that lotus is spherical all round, extending to 96,000 yojanas. The internal measurement is 84,000 yojanas. Its filaments extend to 300,000 yojanas in all directions. It has 4 petals to the 4 quarters, 100,000 yojanas in length, and 80,000 in width. Listen attentively to the description of what I had called before the pericarp, and know it briefly. Atri thought it has 100 angles or corners. Sage Burgu 1,000. According to Savarni, it is octangular, and a quadrangle according to Baguri. Varsayani opines that it is 4-sided. Galava thinks it has the shape of a saucer. Gargia regards it as a twisted braided hair, while Krostaki conjectures it to be spherical. Each of these sages knew only that side of this lordly mountain which was near him. Only Brahma knows the entire range. Know that Meru, the most excellent of mountains, is full of gems and jewels. It has various colors and lusters. It is golden and refulgent like Aruna. It is very attractive. It has 1,000 knots and ridges where water flows. It is like a lotus with 1,000 petals. It is full of columns studded with gems and jewels. It has altars decorated with diverse jewels. Festoons of corals and golden pieces adorn it. On festival occasions, hundreds of glorious heaven dwellers moving about on aerial chariots illuminate all its sides with their luster. The abodes for divas are laid in thousands of its beautiful ridges. The 4-faced lord of divas, Brahma, the most excellent among those who know Brahman and the leader of heaven dwellers, occupies its upper surface. The various quarters set up on the mountain contain thousands of great devas capable of bestowing desired fruits. They have occupied the great regions there. Here is a glorious assembly hall of Brahma, resorted to by several Brahmanical sages. It is known as Manovati in all the worlds. The great aerial chariot of Lord Isana, having the brilliance of 1,000 suns, is there proclaiming its own glory. Devas and sages stay there near Brahma. The mass of splendor, God Brahma, is glorified there. I shall describe it to you now. The glorious Lord of riches, the 1,000-eyed Indra, stays here honored by devas and the celestial sages of great yogic prowess. Here alone is the region of Lord Indra, the great monarch, the lord of the worlds. It is as refulgent as the sun. It is bowed to by all Siddhas. Here is the region of Indra endowed with the highest prosperity of the world. It is brightened by the excellent immortal devas and is ever resorted to by them. In the second inner ridge, in the intermediate point between the east and the south, is the famous splendid assembly hall that shines like fire. It is very beautiful and lustrous, inlaid with metals of diverse colors. The ground is paved with various gems. It has several pillars made of gold and rising high. There are many gem-studded platforms, secret and hidden excellent apartments on either side. This famous, spacious, aerial chariot is refulgent with fire-like. That alone is the great assembly hall of the fire god. It is called Tejovati, the fire god Vibhavasu, the most excellent among devas in the mouth of all celestial deities, endowed with thousands of leaping flames, is eulogized by devas and sages who perform homas too. The fire god is the intermediary and a distinguished deity of Brahmanas. Though he is indivisible, his splendor is shared by all. He, the Lord of Splendor, assumes various forms. His diversity, both as the cause and effect, is perceptible through concentrated mind. That fire god is respectfully bowed to by noble siddhas, blessed sages, knowers of the world and worldly affairs, and those who assimilate his prowess and exploits. In the third inner ridge is a great assembly hall of Vaivasyata, god of death. It is known as Susamyama. In the fourth inner ridge is the great assembly hall of the intelligent lord Nairtu of Squint Eyes. The hall is named Kranangana. Similarly, in the fifth inner ridge, there is a great assembly hall of Varuna, lord of waters and son of the sun. This hall is named Subvati. In the northern quarter, beyond that, in the sixth inner ridge, there is the great assembly hall of Vayu. It excels all in good qualities. It is called Gandhavati. In the seventh inner ridge, there is the assembly hall of the moon, lord of the stars. It has raised platforms and altars of brilliant lapis lazuli. This hall is called Mahodaya. So also is in the eighth inner ridge, there is a great assembly hall of Isana. It is named Yasovati. It has the luster of the molten gold. These splendid assembly halls are situated in the 8 quarters. They belong to the 8 chief devas, Indra and others. They are resorted to by the sages, devas, Gandharvas, Asparsas, and serpents who come for worship. What is known and called by the synonyms of heaven, viz. Nakapursta, Diva and Svarga, by those who know the Vedas and their ancillaries is this: it is here where devas live. It is so said in the Vedas. One attains this Devaloka by various observances, restraints, sacrifices, or different sorts of meritorious deeds. It is called Svarga also. Wow. Since we've come this far, I'm going to go to the next chapter, 35, JambuDvipa continued, and it's got a little bit more amazing details, so check this out. Sutta said, what is described as the root of the pericarp is 70,000 yojanas beneath. It is heard that a sphere of 48,000 yojanas encompassed by the Lord of Mountains is what is called Merumula, the root of Meru. In all the quarters there are boundary mountains, the loftiest among thousands of mountains. They are beautiful by hedges, caves, rivers, and rivulets. They have many ridges like huge mansions shining with flowers. Their sides are beautified by minerals. Their flanks are decorated by clusters of flowers. Their peaks are golden brown. Many streams flow over them. All these mountains are richly decorated with gems. There are inimitable bowers with hundreds of birds resorting to them. Lions, tigers, sarabhas, a mythological 8-footed animal, kamari deer, and elephants live there. The boundary mountains are bounded by mountain ranges of various shapes and colors. Each of the 10 mountains is marked by the sun, lion, and the black deer. They have 3 streams flowing in and out. To the east of Meru are the 2 mountains, Jatara and Devakuta, which run north to south and stretch up to the Nila and Nasadha mountains. The Kailasa and the Himavat are to the south and north, extending to the east and the west. They enter the sea. O excellent Brahmanas, now I shall tell you the diameter of Meru, the mountain of gold. Meru has 4 great ranges, legs, in all the 4 quarters. Held by them, the earth with her 7 continents does not move. Their extent is 10,000 yojanas. They shine with many gems and jewels of devas, yaksas, and gandharvas, who reside there. Many rivulets flow from their rocky declivity in their beautiful caves. The tablelands of diverse colors and features shine with the clusters of flowers blooming around the slopes and ridges, abounding in red arsenic mines and yellow orpiment. The caves all round shine in diverse colors with gems and gold. The place abounds in vermilion, gold, and minerals. They are decorated in corals set in variegated shapes and sizes of gold. There are abodes of siddhas with hundreds of joints, stories, which are beautiful and delightful. They are dazzling all around with majestic palatial aerial chariots. To the east is the Mandara, to the west the Vipula, and to the north the Suparvsva. On thousands of their peaks there are platforms of diamonds and lapis lazuli, with trees thousands of branches, with firm roots. They are well established. They have thickly grown smooth dark leaves, with large fruits and flowers. They cover the ground with shade. They are very lofty. 4 great trees, which are the landmarks of the continent, have grown there. They are resorted to by Siddhas, Yaksas, and Gandharvas. On the peak of Mountain Mandara there is a great tree, Keturat, the king of banners, with hanging branches. There is a Kandara tree also. It is splendid with excessive fragrant, full-blown flowers as big as a pitcher, with filaments spread out. They bloom in all seasons. Wafted by the gentle wind, the fragrance fills up the quarters to more than 1,000 yojanas around. O Brahmanas, the continent Bhadrasva is well known as Varakitu. Here Vishnu is directly worshipped by groups of Siddhas. Formerly Hari, Indra, the most excellent among Devas, riding a white horse and accompanied by a group of Rudras, traveled over the entire continent. O leaders of Brahmanas, the continent is therefore called Bhadrasva. There is a Jambu tree, rose apple, on the top of the southern mountain. It is resorted to by Devas. It ever blooms and bears fruits. It shines with garlands of flowers. Its roots and branches are very extensive. Its branches are of pleasing colors. The tree is always bedecked with fresh flowers, fruits, and branches. The sweet and soft fruits of huge size falling on the peak of the mountain are nectar-like in taste. From the tableland on the top of this excellent mountain flows the river Jambu with currents of honey. Gold, known as Jambu Nada, with the luster of burning fire, is formed here. It is the incomparable ornament of Devas and the destroyer of sins. Devas, Danavas, Gandharvas, Yaksas, Raksasas, and Panagas, serpents, drink the honey, the juice exuding from the Jambu tree, which is as sweet as nectar. The eternal Jambu tree, which is well known in the world, is the landmark in the southern continent. The continent is called JambuDvipa after its name. A great asvatha tree grows on the peak of the great western mountain, Vipula. It has hanging garlands and golden platforms set with gems. Its trunk and branches are very lofty. It is the abode of many living beings. It abounds in good qualities. That tree is the landmark of the people of Ketumala. It is embellished with auspicious fruits growing in all seasons. They are of the size of big pots and very pleasing. The tree is resorted to by Devas and Gandharvas. How the continent came to be known as Ketumala, O great Brahmanas, hear. I shall tell you the etymology of the name. After the churning of the milk ocean, the Daityas were defeated. On being pressed in the tumult of the battle, when the trees shook, a garland wreathed by the 1,000-eyed Lord Indra was put round the trunk of that asvatha tree as a form of worship. It still retains its excessive fragrance. It never fades. It bestows all desires. That blessed garland is worshipped by Siddhas and Karanas. The garland, as it were, a flagstaff bestowed by Indra, shines in a divine way. Blown by the wind, it wafts pleasing fragrance. Symbolized with the 2 names Ketu and Mala joined together, the continent is known as Ketumala. It lies in the western region. It is very extensive, well known here as well as in the heaven. On the northern peak of the mountain Suparsva, a great fig tree grows up with extensive branches. It covers an area of many yojanas. It is resorted to by Siddhas and Karanhas. From its branches, clusters of garland of sweet fragrance hang loose. It shines with them. This tree is the landmark of the northern Kuru country. It shines with fruits full of honey. The fruits resemble the coral cup. 7 mental sons of Brahma, the blessed younger, brothers of Sanut Kamara, stay there. They are known as Kurus. They attained spiritual knowledge in that region. They are characterized by piety and good qualities. They are of meritorious fame. This eternal, imperishable, great region has been attained by them. This continent has derived its name from those 7 great souls. The northern Kurus are famous here and in the heaven forever. So that is ridiculous in comparison to the structure of the universe as taught by pretty much every other possible religion and science throughout time. And I was doing a mushroom drawing for a magazine the other day, and it reminded me of this quote by Maria Sabina, who, God knows the truth, but when Gordon Wasson went and discovered psilocybin down in Mexico, he met her, and she says, "There is a world beyond ours, a world that is far away, near, and invisible. And there is where God lives, where the dead live, the spirits and the saints, a world where everything has already happened and everything is known. The sacred mushroom takes me by the hand and brings me to the world where everything is unknown." And then when the quote continues, she talks about how she goes there and she brings back the knowledge. And that's what this all reminds me of. Every time I think about these structures of the universe with the Jains, it always reminds me of someone that went to those worlds, went really deep into that world and charted it, discovered it, maybe joined forces with it, united with it in a way that is so beyond our comprehension that it's impossible to describe with words. Just like everything in that realm is impossible to come back to and describe it with words. We get proof all the time that these things happened. The ancient Greeks, all these different people have so many arts where they used psychedelics or hallucinogens, which were medicine at all other times in life. They were medicine in ways to travel, ways to time travel, ways to travel in your mind beyond anything, ways to connect with the ether, to connect with the universal being, to discover things, to discover an inner landscape within us and outside us, connected to us in every possible way. These secrets are here, very close to us, and I cannot help but think that the ancients discovered that stuff. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, the ancient Tibetan books, they are all so similar, and they are so just immaculate in their descriptions and vivid and beyond comprehension. I know for a fact that our structure of the universe is beyond comprehension. To think that we're just floating around in space, nothingness, meaningless, gas everywhere, blah, 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 totally wrong. It just doesn't feel right. None of it does. This stuff does. A world beyond comprehension in a beauty that is so powerful. And it makes sense why everything would want, all these powers that control us, would want it to end and want us to never think this way. They'd want to dumb us down and just limit our understanding of everything so that we can't even come close to this magic. But that's not the way it has to be. That's not the way it must be. In the future, we need to propel these ideas and these visions of an immaculate structure. We need to go with them. We need to test them. As far as I'm concerned, this is just as much of a needed just proof. We need proof that this could be true, just as NASA needs to prove. Someone needs to prove that we are on something. Otherwise, everything is possible. And when everything is possible, it's explanations and ancient explanations like this that seem the most probable, because they are just so amazing, and we know that there is much more to this world than we have been led to believe and allowed to believe. So we got to break through that in every way possible and remain healthy, remain straight in our path, and really combine this one day with science. Use our modern tech to discover these things. Let's get higher than any of these things have ever gone altitude-wise in vehicles and just cruise and figure out, map this place for real. Enough of these people controlling it and telling us how far we can go. We need to discover this stuff for everyone's sake, so that everyone's soul and spirit can be freed and the potential for all of us can flourish, because the way it is now, it can't, and it must. Bless you all.